Well, good evening and welcome to the Arbor Hills Nature Preserve. Tonight's exercise is a field test of, there it is, 1000 peak lumen, AA compatible from ACEBEAM. I have had a number of requests to review this light, and I want to thank ACEBEAM for sending me one and making the review possible. Now, while it is possible to use AA's to power the light, tonight I'm using the 920 milliamp hour ACEBEAM battery that comes with the light. Very nice clip. Operation is controlled by this tail switch. This includes on, off, momentary, as well as cycling through the low, medium, and high output levels. When the light is on, click off, click back on within 1 second to cycle to the next mode in sequence. If you wait longer than 1 second to turn it back on, the light returns to the previously selected output level. Now, that high output, 1000 lumens sounds very great, but that type of light out of this small of a form factor, you get a lot of heat, so that output has to be regulated. Now, if memory serves, according to the manual, that step down occurs at 35 seconds, at which point the light transitions from 1000 peak lumens to 600. And we will be testing that out tonight. In fact, on the subject of test, you're probably very interested in what the beam looks like, so let's get right to it. We are at the bridge where I normally do output level tests. This is low, suitable for very close proximity. I can barely light things up, maybe 6, 7 yards, possibly 8 ahead of me. Here's medium, much better. The bugs like it as well. It's going to be one of those nights. While there is some spill, it sure seems like most of the lumen output is going into that very wide hot spot. And a quick view in high output. In fact, we can see well to the other end of the bridge. I'm not going to light those people up. All right, let's get out in the preserve and see what this light can do. Here is a practical example of what the low mode looks like. We're at the playground area, so this is a scenario where perhaps your kids were playing out here earlier. You lost something, they lost something. There's light all around us, but not enough to see on the ground. So this kind of answers the question of, could you use this low mode to search for something, as long as you're kind of inside 4 or 5 yards, more or less, but that's about it. But I just wanted to show that to you, and that'll get us started on testing tonight. This is not the type of light I would ever recommend for, long sustained use, unless you're jammed up and you're in a real serious situation. Let's say that we're lost, we're finally on our way back. It was a day hike, we didn't plan on being out at night, and maybe this is all the light you've got other than your cell phone. So can you follow a groomed path? Well, I need to get enough information about the path downrange. For example, I can see that this slopes to the left, so I've got to be careful, otherwise I'd fall to the left. In fact, the terrain around it slopes as well. That's why you have these areas where drainage has caused these depressions, so I can look out for that. Rocks, I can get just a tiny amount of situational awareness from this medium mode, just enough to see what's well in front of me and just around me. So this would be an adequate mode for following a groomed path. Well, you may have seen this before. Lit observation tower to the left, a dark pocket of trees behind it to the right, just over 50 yards from my current position. And here we go. High output. I'm just going to leave it on, and I've got my fingers comfortably away from the head area of the light. We'll see how this works out. I've got my finger on the head of the light now, no discernible heat. I think it's stepped down a bit, but if so, it's very gradual. It is a somewhat cooler night, and we do have a nice breeze out tonight. Yeah, that means more work in post. Yes, very, very, very gradual. All right, around 2 minutes or a little bit more sustained output in high. We are at the top of the observation tower looking back across the bridge, which extends about 25 yards from my current position. There's a very tiny amount of light above and behind me, but not enough to light the extent of the bridge. So suppose you heard something out in this direction, you needed to get some useful light on it. Now, you can't get a lot of detail about that tree line, which is, 35 yards plus, but you could definitely do detection out to that range. And remember, we're inside a nature preserve, inside a city, and so there is some surrounding light pollution. So how well does this medium output work with a headlamp? My headlamp is currently on 400 lumen flood. This is a neutral white. Of course, the ACEBEAM is a cool white. Let's get it on medium. There we go. Definitely gives us more visibility downrange, and if you're looking inside these tree lines, you can pick up more detail. So if you're out night hiking and you like to use a headlamp, which I certainly recommend, but you're trying to go ultra thin, this might be a good companion for close quarters observation. And once again, the bugs really love it. Okay, ACEBEAM off. There's the headlamp again. I'm going to head on back to the parking lot area, and we'll do one final test. We are in medium. I think I'm going to do my wrap up right here. Do something a little bit different. That was a very interesting set of tests. I really like this type of form factor. I like these AA style lights. If this is something that you are interested in, I hope you saw enough tonight to be able to make a decision. I am not the guy who sells or promotes lights. I just do the test, and I truly believe if you take a light out and put it under realistic circumstances, it ought to be able to sell itself. Now, on the subject of tests, if you need to see more, if you'd like to see additional types of tests, different environments, comparisons perhaps, well, leave a comment and I'll do whatever I can. And as always, until the next review, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for watching the video.